All right, we have some breaking news that just came into us right now. New York appeals court denies the Trump motion to delay hush money trial, setting up the jury selection for next week. So we have just learned that the jury selection will begin next week. That was slated for April 15th. It looks like that is going to continue. Trump had filed a motion requesting that the judge in the hush money trial be recused as well, but it's unclear whether or not that actually is moving forward. It seems as though this judge, however, was weighing in on the others. So I do think that we got to get a little bit more information. This is just being reported courtesy of Fox News, a good reporter over there. I know her, Brooke Singman. She's writing that Trump's application to the New York Appellate Division First Department said that while jury selection is set to begin next week, quote, polling and quantitative analysis and media coverage shows that a fair and impartial jury cannot be selected right now based on pre-trial publicity. Well, I think that's probably a good point. I mean, it's very hard, given who he is, period, to get any kind of non-biased jury, especially in New York City. Anyway, this is Lizbeth Gonzalez made the decision here on Monday. Defendant's application for the stay of trial pending the determination of defendant's motion for change of venue is denied, she writes. Of course, last week, Judge Merchan, it came out that he basically has this massive conflict of interest. I was reporting on it. I led the show with that as well today. And the Trump team has gone in with a 37-page memo and said, hey, you know what? This guy is biased and we ought to be able to. Can we run the CNN soundbite again, Drew? Because this is important. This is a retired judge in the same area going on CNN and saying, you know what? Merchan has an issue. There is a conflict of interest here. And Merchan's, the response is to impose a gag order. How do you like that? Here we go.
And they've put together a composite of issues that would cause me a little bit of pause. And I can explain all the various things that they've put together. The main focus of this motion, as opposed to the previous one a year ago, which the judge denied, is on the daughter's line of work. As you already said, the daughter does work with many, many high-profile Democratic candidates. She works on their social media. They put out a post. They get contributions. She, as an owner, gets a percentage of those contributions. So there is a statute in New York which says a judge must disqualify himself if a person known by the judge to be within the 6th degree of relationship, and a daughter is the 1st degree, has an interest that could be substantially affected by the outcome of the proceeding. So the question here is this daughter likely to profit, to benefit from the outcome of this proceeding? And you have to understand, it's not actual conduct that's worrisome, it's the appearance to a reasonable person that this judge cannot be fair and impartial given that relationship. So ordinarily, I would think that a benefit financially would be to a spouse because they share the income. This is an independent adult daughter. They don't share income. But according to this statute, the judge must recuse if she would substantially benefit from the outcome. So that's one thing that concerned me. But if you add to that a few other facts that are of concern, at least to me, was the judge's original contribution to President Biden 4 years ago, which he made himself, very small contribution, $35.
Yeah, I think it was $10, right?
$35, I'm told, $35. A small contribution, but he made it through ActBlue himself on the internet. He did give an interview where he said he wouldn't comment on the case, but then he said he's been intensely preparing and he wants to be fair and impartial, and justice is important. He and his daughter discussed the former president's use of social media, which the judge condemned in that discussion, and the daughter reported on it. The Office of Court Administration said the daughter's Twitter account ended a year ago, so any recent posts on that were not from the daughter. Yeah. And I kind of wondered why the Office of Court Administration was defending the daughter. So there, if you put all these together, is my point, it's certainly enough that maybe a reasonable person could have a doubt about impartiality. So I think it's kind of a serious motion. I realize it's 10 days before the trial and don't
It is
expect
a
it to
serious
be
motion,
granted.
and it just became even more serious, even more significant. Donald Trump is suing to have his trial moved. He is appealing the New York judge's gag order as well, and he wants a new venue for this trial. He is requesting that it be moved out of Manhattan, in part because, well, Manhattan is a very liberal place. And so this appeal basically includes the name of New York Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchan as a defendant. This is per the court records. They basically are trying to say, look, he can't get a fair trial there. And yet they had an emergency conference just moments ago. And the judge, Lisbeth Gonzalez, heard arguments from the Trump lawyer about this very liberal population there in Manhattan, and therefore saying, we can't get a fair jury situation because a recent survey of Manhattan residents showed that 61% believed Trump was guilty in the hush money case. And so the Trump attorney had asked that the trial be placed on hold, but it looks like, again, this just coming through, that the appellate court is not going to allow that. The judge, the appeals judge, Lisbeth Gonzalez, is saying, nope, we're going to move forward, and jury selection will begin on April 15th. So perhaps the next leg of this is whether or not they can get a new judge, because it still seems as though no one has ruled on that particular issue, whether or not they can actually get a new judge, because this judge has a daughter that profits off of, well, literally the case that he's going to be ruling on. I mean, this is what her Democrat candidates have been raising money on. So again, it's scheduled to start April 15th. He's facing 34 accounts, ladies and gentlemen, of falsifying business records, all related to a $130,000 payment that was allegedly made to this adult film actress, Stormy Daniels, all ahead of the 2016 election. Now, it is said that this payment was made allegedly to keep her quiet, and this is what's now being sort of, and now, by the way, it's already been decided once, right? So it's being escalated. Merchan, the judge in this case, issuing a gag order against Donald Trump just last week. The gag order designed to stop him from targeting the judge himself and his daughter. Now, before you say, oh, his daughter, no, she's a fully grown woman. New York Post had a big story on her, fully grown woman. You see a picture of her and her dad. She runs a Democrat consulting firm that makes a ton of money off of none other than the likes of Adam Schiff, Kamala Harris, and the DNC. And they raise money and send out emails off of this case. I mean, this case in particular has been mentioned multiple times. And according to the New York Post, she's been able to make a massive haul of some $93 million related to this case and a few others against Donald Trump. So she's raking it in, and it does not look appropriate, obviously, for her dad to be the one deciding this case. It would be very simple for him to get off, but nobody wants that because they want him stuck in this trial during the height of the campaign season. So I'm still waiting for some clarity on that, but thus far it looks as though we are moving forward here. April 15th is the date, unless somebody says, okay, we need to find a new judge. Maybe they'll be able to do that. The jury selection is going to be what it is. The New York Appeals Court rejecting Donald Trump's request to delay his April 15th trial. Just wild, absolutely wild.